There's a lot of talk about how good the rookies have looked. Joe Burrow has been so good in Cincinnati. Herbert has been so good. And now, I know it's a small sample size, but very impressive from Tua this past weekend. What are you hearing around the sport about these rookie QBs?
I think it's a great young crop of quarterbacks. You look at Tua last weekend, justifying the decision to go to him, and I think a lot of people wondered if the Dolphins were making the right move. And clearly, when you watched them play, it looked like they were. It looked like they knew something that other people didn't. Tua was very impressive in that win. Joey Burrow has been fantastic this year when you watch him play, and he has shown great signs for the future. And Justin Herbert has been probably the most impressive of the group so far to date. He looks like he's going to be in a division with Patrick Mahomes, with those two dueling it out, and he's having similar success to what Mahomes did in his first season as a full-time starter for the Chiefs, putting up those kinds of numbers. He's been athletic, smart, sharp, runs, throws, deep balls, touch, accuracy. Justin Herbert is a shining star in this league.
No question. And I think he'd be getting more attention if he played on a team that got more attention, or if they had won some of these games they've lost. Every single loss they have this year has been a one-possession loss so far. So, Lewis, you know where the conversation goes because, you know, we are professional overreactors. There were legendary quarterback classes in NFL history. The most famous of them all was 1983. There were 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round that year. 3 of them are in the Hall of Fame today. 2004, much more recent vintage, you see them there. Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger all went in the first 11 picks. I think it's a safe bet that all of them will wind up in the Hall of Fame. It's obviously early to be making any sort of historical comparison, but when you look at these 3 guys, what do you think we're seeing the beginning of?
I think the NFL is in good hands right now as far as young quarterbacks are concerned. There's no question. I think that many of these teams have to still prove that from a total perspective, a total team perspective, that they can put enough around these young players to where they start to win consistently. Because all of those guys that you saw on those lists from 1983 and 2004, they all played on winning teams. They all played on teams that made it to the Super Bowl, except for Phillip Rivers. And that's what is ultimately they're going to be judged by. That's what ultimately all quarterbacks are judged by. How good were your teams? How many Super Bowls did you play in? And how many Super Bowls did you win? And look, Cincinnati has a long way to go as far as building out that roster around Joe Burrow. Miami under Brian Flores looks as though they are on their way for sure. They have the right culture. They are getting better and better players. And the Chargers just have to somehow figure out a way, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to be able to close out games because look, Justin Herbert, where he has come from in terms of the type of offense that he ran at Oregon, to then going through all of training camp expecting Tyrod Taylor to be the starter for this year and him going to sit, then getting his first starting assignment with about 1 minute's notice to come out and play the way he has played, that's just absolutely, like, insanely good how he has looked. So all these guys, the sky is the limit. The teams just have to do right by them and make sure the rest of the roster is strong.
And you know what the conversation will be for a long time, Neek, if these guys all do wind up being around for a long time. Did they go in the right order? The order in which they went was Burrow, Tua, Herbert. Is your sense right now they went in the right order?
Yeah, it feels about right to me. I think it's a little early on Tua, but the way that we see Herbert playing right now, it's been astronomical. I guess you could argue that maybe he's the best one of this class, but I feel like Burrow does not have the same support that you would want for your young quarterback, and he is still the type of guy that you drop into an organization, and now everything's looking up going forward. So I think the order is probably right. I like the Miami situation more than anything else. So how much success they have, we're talking about Super Bowls is how we're going to judge them. Everyone knows that those Super Bowls are going to be more dependent on everything around them than just them specifically. So I suspect that the situation down there in Miami is set up for more success. So I think at the end of the day, we're going to look at Tua, and maybe as long as he stays healthy, he might have the best, most accomplished career out of any of these 3 guys.
Now, one way or another, certainly we're in good hands, or the league is in good hands with these young players. Joe Burrow has taken something of a beating behind that offensive line in Cincinnati this year, but he's shown no fear. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.